Recording.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Jim, by the way, did you read my book?
Um, Wait a minute, Mark. Which book? Hold it.
The Catastrophic Combo.
Wait, is this? I think I did. I have
All
to
right, well, don't
apologize.
worry about it.
You've
We'll
caught
talk
me off
later because
guard.
we're recording. We'll talk later. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, there you go. All right. Anyway, yes.
Buongiorno, Lorenzo.
Buongiorno, signori.
Come sta?
Signori. Buenos dias, bonjour, manguanani, mabukase, all of these good things. Goodness. Okay. So it is 9:30, Friday, March 27. So thanks everybody for being on the call. Today I want to talk about accountability. And my notes are here, and I don't know where you all disappeared, but I don't know if you can see me. I guess we'll do it this way. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let me see if I can do it this way. Here we go. Okay, so I would like to talk about accountability. So before I do that, and before I get reprimanded by Jim Trainer for forgetting, the slaughterhouse of failure
Recording in progress.
is not in my destiny. I shall persevere until I succeed. In my destiny, if I quit. So I got all sorts of things coming up here. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is accountability. Because I think this is something that is worthwhile at this particular moment, because next week we'll be in April, and we will have completed the first 3 months of this year, which have gone like at lightning speed.
Hmm.
So my question is, do you trust yourself? I'm going to do a kind of an introspection, because I think it becomes important that we be brutally honest with ourselves. So the question is, do you trust yourself? Do you have integrity? Let me put it another way to be politically correct. Do I trust myself? Do I have integrity? Because that leads to credibility. Do I really believe in myself? Am I honest with the questions and answers about who I am? Because we've got to start with ourselves. So if you think about this for the moment, and I speak to as if, as if I say you, but I'm talking about myself, of course, obviously as well. So the question is, the integrity part of it is very, very important, because we've got to find the way to avoid imposter syndrome, what I call imposter syndrome. And that is accountability. It's about everything has to do with accountability. So that means integrity. Do I really have integrity? Do I do things? Do I walk my talk whether anybody's there or not? Am I honest with myself? Am I always doing what I say I'm going to do? Do I believe in myself? So the question is, do we have any danger of imposter syndrome? When we say something, we say we're doing this and then we don't do that. And we have an imposter syndrome. A lot of people have that. A lot of people actually do have a lot of imposter syndrome. Well, hopefully we don't. We've got to be accountable to ourselves. Sorry, I keep getting distracted with something here. We've got to be absolutely accountable to ourselves. It's not about pressure or guilt. It's about having a system where our actions are consistently line up with our intentions. That's what accountability is. It's not about, guilting and anything like that. It's about a system where our actions are consistently lined up with our intention. If we intend to do something, are the actions following that? Could everybody put themselves on mute, please? Because I get distracted and I'm very simple-minded. Um, so this takes a mixture of clarity, structure, and honesty. Clear standards. The standards we have are things that we impose on ourselves, and it should be on an hourly basis, daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis. And then we have honest conversations with ourselves. How many calls will I make? What are the quality of my calls? Am I enthusiastic when I talk? Am I standing up or slouching? Believe it or not, this is important because when we're sitting down, our breathing is different. When we're standing up, that's different. You'll notice that Scott has always now been, all the calls he does them from a standing position. All the calls that Scott does. So when I talk to people, I mean, right now, obviously, I'm trying to handle the computer and what have you, but normally I try and stand up and walk around when I talk to people because that voice enthusiasm comes out differently when you're walking, when you're talking, standing up rather than sitting down, not slouching. So, when you've made your calls, what does that look like? Are you satisfied with your call? Is it done? What is the call? What does it mean when you finish the call? So when we look at our accountability and we look at our goals, one of the things to do is to make visible the commitments that you've made. How do you do that? Well, we talk with a whiteboard. Let's have something that we can look at that we can then monitor on a physical basis. So the daily checklist, weekly plan. Then we've got to look at did we complete what we said we were going to complete? That leads us back to this whole leads and lag measures. The lead measure is what are we going to do? What is the plan? The next 90 days. What is that? The lag measure is what did we do in the last 90 days? The last week, the last month, the last hour. The lead and lag measure. That becomes so important because we've got now a very good yardstick to compare what we've done in January and what we're going to do for the next 90 days. Now, I mention that because Yokohama comes up in end of June. If that is a plan, are we adhering to that plan? How do we know? We know if we can monitor, if we can actually check physically, visibly what we're doing. So let's look backwards and say from January, what percentage did my business increase? Did it in fact increase? If not, why not? So consistency, accountability helps us to have faith and enthusiasm in what we're doing. Can I do better? Do I need someone to help me? Am I too proud to ask for help? These are all pertinent questions because, introspection and honest self-critique is really important. We've got to be honest with ourselves. Am I doing what I said I would? Am I being consistent with with who I am? Or is it just imposter syndrome? Or do I just give lip service? Am I proud of what I'm doing? Because, we then have to look at something that say, okay, well, was my plan realistic? Or did I just avoid the work? If I didn't achieve what I was doing, was I making a pie in the sky or was it realistic? Did I just avoid the work? So one of the things that I believe is important is that we can reward ourselves if we do well. In other words, if you take a vacation and you haven't earned it, it feels horrible. I can attest to that. I mean, I've taken time off sometimes, and I think, geez, man, I really didn't deserve this, and I haven't really completed what I was doing. So that becomes a kind of a hollow feeling. Whereas if you achieve something, look for that reward and then enjoy it, feel it, enjoy that reward. So whether it's a financial reward, whether it's time for yourself, whether it's time for your family, whether you've achieved the time to be able to have that reward of extra time, because that's what it's about. We have those four famous pains that I keep talking about: time, stress, money, and self-esteem. And all of those have to do with mindset as well, obviously. So one of the things that I think is also important is to have the pain of if you have not achieved something. Excuse me. So for example, the consequence of a delayed pleasure, the delayed leisure of being able to go somewhere because you didn't achieve your goal. So that becomes a pain for you too. And that is the carrot and the stick. I've often talked about a carrot and a stick. We've got to give a carrot and a stick to ourselves. If we do well, we're going to reward ourselves with having extra time, with being able to be with our families, or whatever the thing is, having an extra time to do something. And the stick is when you don't do that, and then you start not feeling good about it. So there are a couple of things that I thought I'd mention because it's that time of year now when we've got something to look back on, something to look forward to. Are we using the whiteboard? Are we being consistent? Are we measuring our progress? Are we enjoying the fruits of extra time available to us if we've organized ourselves properly? Introspection, conversation with yourself, honest conversation. This is accountability. And accountability, I think, should be very often during each month, at the beginning, and of course at the end. And you have any comments about that? Anything I've said? I'd love to have some comments.
I will. Um, when you talk about accountability at the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, it's so much easier if you get it throughout the whole month. Because if you wait till the last minute at the end of the month, it becomes very stressful and very you have to sometimes beat the clock to make sure that you get things in timely.
100%. If you from the first week, from the first day, if you look at the first day as if it's the last day of the month, you'll put the urgency. You'll put that that enthusiasm and urgency into completing the goals. You want to make 3,000 points at the end of the month? No, you'll make it, try and do the 3,000 points at the end of the first day or two or three. The urgency. You want to make you want to make a bunch of calls? How many calls? Start from the first day. It's not just 3 calls, 5 calls, 10 calls. I can show you my whiteboard here. I think I've made like 90, 98 calls in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And of those, I've followed up on all the ones I've got written in red here, which are probably, I don't know, 15. So it's important to have a goal, to follow it, and to be honest with yourself. Why didn't I call that guy? Because it was lunchtime. Poor excuse. After lunch, oh, I forgot. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. No. No. Anybody?
I think rationalization is another big term, where you identify what you want to achieve, and there are going to be certain tasks that are necessary to achieve that. And many times, myself included, I fall into, quote, management role, where I think I need to manage people and help them along. And in fact, we really don't. People who want to do this business will call you when they need your help. Everybody owns their own business, and that's part of that whole platform. And I tend probably to lean more on calling and helping, and in a way that kind of rationalizes my day, where I'm not doing some of the primary inviting things that I still need to do.
So you're a caregiver, empathy. And this
Yeah.
is where we have to rationalize, I think. Was your word rationalize? I think that's what you said, no?
Yes.
Rationalize. That's a very good observation because we've got to also balance who we are. As caregivers, everybody has a big heart. Everybody wants to help. And we tend to help the weakest link. We tend to help the person that needs the help the most. And that is how we are as human beings. But as business, we've got to look at that 80-20 rule. Which are the 20% of the people that are going to bring us 80% of our income? That's the rationale. Somewhere is I've got to help these people because that's the weakest link. I mean, they need it. I help them. I need to. And we kind of micromanage maybe, or we spend too much time there. But at the same time, we've got to also focus on where's the bread and butter coming from.
Mhm.
We've got to see and that's the 80-20 rule. 80% of our income will come from 20% of people. So the rationale is how can I do both? How can I help the weakest link, and how can I help the forward thinkers, the leaders to go forward? Because that's where the volume of business and the volume of business will come from. So rationalization, that's a good one. Thank you. Anybody else?
I
Don't
think
be.
accountability is just what you do daily. Like this morning, I'm like going, nah, do I want to get up and go to walk? And I just pulled myself up and said, yeah, we got to get out there and walk and greet this day and, be positive about everything that we're doing. And that's the first part about being accountable to yourself. And then, then everything's going to fall into place, is how I look at it.
100%. Remember, I've always said it's easy to lie to yourself, to oneself. I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it. Nah, so what? So what? No one's noticing. That's what I'm talking about, having imposter syndrome as well, where you lie to yourself. Whereas if you say, I'm going to do this, well, do it. Because otherwise it's easy to, and also, by the way, you can also have one way to do it, have somebody to help you be accountable. So, for example, on a call like this, and you say you're going to do something, it's going to be very embarrassing if you don't do it. Where it's not such a big deal, theoretically, if you tell yourself you're going to do something and don't do it. Who cares? I mean, no one even notices. So that's why I say you've always got to be accountable to yourself, whether anybody's there or not. Do it as if everybody's watching. If you say, I'm going to do something, pretend that if you've told everybody you're going to do it. And that will help you get up and do it. If you say you're going to make 10 calls, do 10 calls. And think about, you've told 20 people that you're going to be calling them and do it. Otherwise, the accountability becomes futile.
Dee Dee used another term, but she didn't speak it, and that is consistency. And consistency really does come from getting up in the morning and say, I don't really want to walk, but you do it anyway. Why? Because you're a consistent individual, and she's very consistent.
I wanted to add a little bit things. There's sometimes, distractions get in the way. And we had our floors replaced and everything got moved from all the rooms into one big room. And we've been together for over 40 years. So we've acquired a few things. We've had multiple businesses and, so that's been distracting because trying to get through to get through the clutter so you can free your mind up, but also still dedicate time every day to the business has been challenging because of just this overwhelming sensation of I can't breathe in this house because there's so much stuff because we've accrued things. So thank you, Lawrence, for having this particular topic because that helps me focus more on going, that stuff can sit there for now. I need to focus on setting our monthly goal. I need to do this. And that stuff will wait. And I just need to focus more on the business. So thank you so much for this particular topic this morning.
Thank you for that. Here's something that I'll mention. I've often said, there are 1,440 minutes in a 24-hour period. Elon Musk has the same number of minutes in that bank account that we all do. I'm using Elon Musk because, the richest man in the world, whatever. But everybody, every single one of us has that same bank account of minutes, 1,440 minutes. So how we distribute that, how we rationalize our time, thanks, Jim, rationalize our time to, to put the distractions in their proper place and how we distribute that time every day. That's where we have these lead and lag measures. I'm going to do this. Okay, did you complete it? No, I didn't. Why? Because I had these distractions. How important are those? Well, get rid of those distractions. Don't even think about that. Think about what you need to do. The distraction now, put it into a minimalist place. Of course, you have to fix your house. Of course, you do. But it doesn't have to be 8 hours a day. It could be in the evening before you go to bed, just to do a little bit at a time. I'm looking at my desk and I think the hurricane hit it. So I've really got to take some time to fix it. But I'm not going to do it as a distraction. I'm going to do it in a particular time frame. I'm going to say, I'm going to take an hour and fix this thing. And that way you'll be able to balance the rest of your time in a more efficient way. Robin, you want to say?
No, but But
Mhm.
I appreciate this topic, Lawrence, and I just want to add, as I'm trying to be accountable and help myself, when I reach out with to people, I'm also thinking I'm reaching out in love, and I have the mindset of who can I serve today, who is praying for me and what we have. And I've been working on that lately, and I just love that because I'm sending those vibes. You know, who can I serve today? Who can I help? Along with being accountable.
Well, that goes hand in hand with something called gratitude. And if we start in the day with gratitude, then the rest of the day will go much more smoothly because you're starting in a form of abundance where you're grateful for what you have. And how can I help other people? By helping yourself first. You've got to put oxygen on you first. And you're grateful for what you have. Your whole mental outlook will be positive. You'll be feeling good with yourself. You'll be able to help other people as well. So I love that. Of course, yes. How can I help other people? All right. Well, first of all, I got to feel really good about who I am, where I am, what I have, and therefore I can help a lot of other people with the gratitude that starts first. I totally agree. I love that.
And can I add one more thing, Lawrence? As I'm working on this and trying to improve this, I feel like I have more confidence
Mhm.
because it's not about me.
Exactly. 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 When you take the ego out of it, the ego is our best friend and our worst enemy. The ego clouds our objectivity many times because the emotion will cloud the rationale. And we actually get confused sometimes because when we look at something from a clearly rationale point of view, we look at it in one way. But if we look at it in an emotional point of view, I'll give you an example, a real example. This week, I met somebody I went to an event, and there was somebody that gave a talk. And I went to that person. I said, I'd really like to chat with you. I think I've got something that may be of interest for you. She said, Oh, I'm interested. What is it? And I said, Well, we've got this technology. And before I finished, she said, Is it the prism? And I said, Yes. And I felt, wow. And then she said, Actually, I don't know. Oh, I said, who is the person who is in your team? She said, I don't know. I said, who sold it to you? She said, I don't know. She said, I've had it for 2 weeks. I don't know how to use it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it, but here it is. My first reaction was to say, well, it's nice meeting you. Goodbye. But my humane reaction in the abundance was to say, well, wow. And she said, can you help me? And I said, well, I'll be glad to set it up for you and calibrate it. Then she said, could you explain to me how the business works? Could you tell me how this works? Whoa, now there's a distraction as well. And somebody that I don't know, she doesn't know who her sponsor is, and is asking me for all kinds of advice here. So my first reaction was, wow, I've got to go. I've got a call to do. I've got somewhere to go. But my empathetic reaction is, I've got to help this person because what goes round comes round. So of course I'm going to help that person. But that's where your emotion and your rationale need to be coherent as well. Tough call.
Um, I'd like to go back to what Carol mentioned. She was talking about how life happens, right? Life hits us every day. And let's face it, if you've ever had all your floors redone or whatever, it is total upheaval. And if I could suggest when you go into a little phase like that, it may last for a week. is really try to utilize compartmentalization. So instead of, oh, I'm going to sit at my desk and work at this all day, I can't do that. But you know what? I can go out on the back porch and set a 60-minute time frame where I'm going to make at least 10 calls. 60 minutes, 10 calls. And then go back and finish the floors or whatever you're doing. But give yourself that little bit of compartmentalized space so that you are able to achieve this thing called consistency.
Thanks,
I love
Jim.
it. That's your rationalization. It's your consistency. Perfect. Exactly. Well done. Thank you.
I
Excellent.
think one of the things which Gary DeRitter became well known for group. For those of you who don't know him, he's a team elite, long time team elite, very successful. Was the concept of red time and green time. And green time obviously is the workable hours during the course of the day, and the red time is the time that those, you could not be calling people. For example, 10 o'clock at night is red time. Maybe 5 in the morning is red time. And so I think in part it's also a question of working the hours when it's feasible to work, when there are going to be other people around and available to receive your calls, and then the red time when they're not. And if you can keep your personal things that you need to do within the red time, you'd be well served. I can't say I'm very good at doing that, but it is certainly a goal to strive for.
Well, one of the big advantages we've got is that we have green time as much as we like, because when it's 8 o'clock when it's 6 o'clock in the morning here, excuse me, when it's 6 o'clock in the morning in California, it's 9 o'clock in the morning here. And when it's in the same thing, there's a 3 hour time difference with California, just as an example. So we can work late into the night or early in the morning, depending on the time zones where we want to speak to people in different parts of the world. That's a big advantage that I love, because I can get into, if it's 9 o'clock at night, I know I can call someone in California. It's only 6 in the evening.
It brings
So,
great philosopher Jimmy Buffett, who always said it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
exactly. That's right. Good. Well, we're on time. Anybody else got anything they want to add? Was this call of any use?
Good
Yeah.
call. Good
Good
call.
call.
Great call, Lawrence.
I'm just really want feedback, because that's the whole point of these things. And I want monologue. I hope that it's making some good feedback. I mean, some good information.
I like the way you start off and give us a full rundown to get the topic going, and then you open it up to the floor. That's very effective, I think.
Well, thank you. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Well, thank you, Lawrence.
You're very welcome. All right. God bless. Take care. We have an event in Fort Lauderdale on the 16th of May. I'm just saying in case anybody's there. And also, by the way, the next fly-in Utah is the 30th of April and the 1st and 2nd of May. So start getting into inviting for the next visit, the next fly-in to Utah.
If I can make a suggestion on that, for
Yeah.
those who are going out there, if you don't have your hotel reservations, you may want to look at sharing house with somebody for the time, which may be cheaper in the long run. And otherwise, you're going to be driving a distance.
Also, don't be afraid to drive 20 or 30 minutes to the Airbnb this time, because there is that event going on, and all the close-in homes are gone. Most of them are.
Yeah, a lot of events going on at that time. Yeah.
I mean, even Scott's going to be driving 20 minutes, I think, from where he's staying. So,
Wow. There you go. All
Where's
right.
the information on Fort Lauderdale? Where's that going to be
It will
posted
be
at?
coming out we just finalized, well, hopefully finalizing today on the place. The date is May 16, but the place we're just going to finalize today. So I'll put it up on Healthcare Alliance.
Is this the A4M
Thank
you're
you.
talking about?
Pardon?
Is this the A4M?
No, this is one here in Fort Lauderdale.
Is it a Healthcare Alliance full group or?
It's going to be for everybody, anybody who wants to come. And actually, Joanne Pryor is coming down.
Oh,
And so, I think that's huge because she's coming down and for me, that's important to understand what are the latest developments in products. What's the latest news from the home front from the base? That's basically what it's about.
And that's wonderful. And Joanne is very, very helpful.
She's a total rock star. I love her.
yeah, she is.
Okay, guys. Don't want to keep you over time. If there's anything else, I'm here. I'm available, but I'm just respectful of everybody else.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
very much,
Thank you,
Lawrence.
guys. God bless.
Thanks,
Have a good
Lawrence.
weekend. God bless. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Ciao.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lawrence. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye. Thank you.